Uh,
Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by at the VDM Defend Middle Lane Smite podcast. I'm here with Crafteasy, the guy,
what the
the
fuck
the
is up with
mid
y'all?
the mid lane legend, auto attack the god, prebewescent,
The youngest auto attack.
and then I'm here with Kasafu. I didn't make an intro for you.
That
Instead,
was a
I
bar
gi-
though.
I said I give you bars. Instead, I gave you a bar because you are the jungle star. Anyways, uh,
Okay,
I
okay,
wanted to
okay.
start off, I guess, with just talking about, I guess, like a self introduction. Start talking about like your experience with Smite, you guys' experience, our experience with Smite, just like how your certain feelings, and then we can start getting into the topics, like how what do we think about Conquest and the competitive atmosphere of Smite right now. Talk about the game modes. Talk about god classes, and just we'll get into it as we go along. But I guess we'll start with you, Craft. Uh, how'd you get into Smite? Give us a little bit of your backstory on it.
Me and Kazifu both got into Smite at the same exact time. It was this around like 2014, like
Yeah, it was
some
like
years ago.
that was a while back. Whenever
Yeah,
season one was, that's when we started.
yeah, back in the day, no beta testing shit though,
Yes.
just good old Smite. I don't know. I kind of got into it just for the third person aspect. It felt like it was a lot more challenging than any normal MOBA, though that might not be the case in reality. I was a fan of the fact that you could just kind of control your own god in a way that didn't involve directly pointing and clicking on shit. So, yeah.
All right, and for someone who's been playing for so long, I'm pretty sure you've also probably run into some pretty notable people in the community. You have you have a list of that people like people you've run into, you played against?
I played against like a lot of the high res employees. I don't remember any of their names because this was like back when I was learning the game, so I was playing a lot of Arena, and obviously all they play is Arena. Since then, I ran into like a few pro players. I think I played a game against Incon, um, and DM. I've seen him. That's about it, really. It's not like a super everyday type of thing where I run into like those more notable names in the community. But I'm around. They're around too.
Okay. All right, now Kasafu, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your Smite beginning. So where do you start? Where did you come in?
Um, like basically, it's no. Since me and McCall started at the same time, I'm not really gonna get into it like that.
He
I
used
mean, we
my
started playing at
government.
the same time. I found it out. I didn't even like. I wasn't even into MOBAs at the time. I was playing more like fighting games and first-person shooters. But I was on Twitch one day, and I don't remember who was streaming, but I saw someone playing Scylla, and I was like, "Yo, that's cool. I'm about to go download this game."
And it's free.
Yeah, that's kind of like a running trend with me. If I see a cool character to play, I'm like, I want to play the game.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask the same question. I know you've probably actually more so than Crafty Z McCall here. You actually play a lot more ranked. You were probably really into grinding into high elos. Tell us some of the people who like notable members of the community that you actually have played up against.
Um, most of them, I want to say aren't really around anymore. Like I've
Yawning.
played, yeah, Yannick. I don't know, Skeledon, Incon, Glasses.
Skeely.
I play with DM on multiple occasions.
Okay.
Um, and just like not even notable players, just like other high ranking people. Like once you're up in that bracket, you'll know people that like you'll see all in every game that you're in. Like, oh, I remember that guy. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like that, man, basically.
I recognize his face.
Yeah.
I'm because I know we've had an out of Smite relationship with like a pro player. because I know you remember Chief Geef and how he was roommates
Oh, geez.
with Jeff Hindler. I think it was right that he was or he
Oh
was
yeah.
friends with Jeff Hindler or something. They had some relationship. They knew each other personally.
That's his cousin.
You know
It was
what I'm
something
saying?
like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. So McCall, what is your preferred roles, and who are some of your favorite gods?
I don't want to play anything other than mid or carry for the most part. Like I'll play some support, but it's really whatever. I'd rather not play that shit at all. I'll play any of the mages, any of the hunters. If I had to pick favorites, then in hunter bracket, we're looking at Izanami, of course. Cupid's really fun to slap people with, of course. It's like playing Ryu in Street Fighter. Medusa's cool at times. Yeah, pretty much just those three at the moment. I don't really fuck with anybody else anymore. Yeah, I feel like everybody else is like pretty boring. Soul, Olurun for starting to look into those mages. Giannis, Vulcan, Isis, like pretty much any of the mages like I can play. And I do try and switch it up a little bit.
So who would you say is your strongest god at the moment?
At this exact moment, it has to be Izanami. And then when she gets that buff, it's gonna be fucking insane playing her out of mid.
Okay.
He's so
Now,
easy to slap kids.
now I know for Castlefoot for Marcus here, it's not as cut and dry because as he said, he started off playing Scylla, but then afterwards he got banned from his first account.
Definitely.
uh,
Don't even remember how I got banned. Wasn't anything toxic. I'm not a toxic person.
yeah, got banned and then made a second account. Was named Toshiro Hitsugaya. Shouts out to Bleach.
That shit was funny.
But now with a new account came a new change of role, and you started playing a lot more jungle. So what are your preferred roles? Who are your favorite gods? Who would you say is your probably strongest? You know.
Okay, so back when I first started playing the game, I was just a Scylla one trick. I would just play her whenever I got her. But once I started, because I was totally new to MOBAs at the time, I didn't get the concept of this guy can't go anywhere, can't go everywhere. I had to learn some new gods. So I had switched to support until like mid season 2. I was a support main, and then from there I was a jungle main ever since. And I can basically play all the boomer assassins. I don't know anything about the new ones. I haven't played like competitively in about 2 seasons. So most of the old assassins like Thor, Humbats,
Thor is
Nemesis,
always strong though.
just some of them. Yeah, just some of those. That's probably my top 3 right there: Thor, Humbats, Nemesis.
Okay. Now Nemesis for a very long time was really weak and wasn't even a contested pick in the meta, but you still seem to enjoy playing her. Is there a reason behind that? You just enjoyed her playstyle that much?
She got the skins.
She's just fucking cool. Like that's what it was. Like I loved her. I love her kit. Even to this day, like I could play Nemesis all day, every day.
Shield dash, slice and dice.
And I guess I can get into some of my. I actually started playing because of YouTube because you guys are playing a lot of it. Back in the days of Curse voice chat. You
Really
know,
showing our age right
yeah,
now.
you know, back in the days of Curse voice chat, we used to hang out on there a lot. Used to play a lot of fighting games, a lot of just a lot of everything. Just like used to hang out and just chat. You guys, I know every time y'all are playing, you'd always be like beads, and I'd be like, huh, ain't no beads. I kept making that joke. Never, never knew what y'all were playing or whatever you were doing. And then we all got on Xbox One, and when Smite came to Xbox One, I know you guys had started playing there as well, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance.
Marcus started playing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was Marcus. It was
I was just trying to
some
integrate
of
you.
our friends, and so I was like, okay, well, this seems kind of
That's
cool.
what to
Let me
say.
try it because I was never really. I don't know. I always played. I always played fighting games. Mostly that's always been like my bread and butter. Shouts out. Um, and so we're seeing this game. I was like, I have no interest in this. This doesn't look really fun. So I started playing with our friends. And I steadily got into it. I didn't play as much as on Xbox just because again I wasn't really into MOBAs or whatever at the point. I think afterwards, I started playing on PC more often because it was before Xbox integrated and Xbox was still in beta. Xbox was still new. Blah blah blah. I played on controller on PC for a very long time. That was very ugly of me. Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, for a very long
No wonder
time
you was cut.
shouts out to that Neef on Arena that always flamed me every time I missed my Kraken.
Oh my god.
But no, for a very long time I was playing on controller, and then I realized it just wasn't that good as far as doing certain things. And so I integrated, or I switched over, converted to keyboard and mouse. And playing this MOBA newly when you don't have any like the muscles for it, because I've never really played a PC game where like it was just I never had to not use a controller. So this Smite was my first game with a keyboard and mouse. So I'm just like, this shit hurts.
My fingers. Oh,
Yeah,
where are they supposed to be?
I felt like that SpongeBob episode where his fingers were just bones were just popping out and they looked like they was chewed up. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
I fat fingered my beads.
Yeah, but yeah, then I started playing a little more. I started diving into more of the content. I started following a lot more, people such as DMBranddon and Con Weekend. Shouts out to Allied. I used to, yeah, rest in peace, Allied. I watched a lot of Allied. I woke up every morning. He would be streaming. I would either watch him or this Skullgirl streamer. Like whenever I would go to school, I was going to high school at the time. Every time I would go to school, it would either be him streaming early in the morning, or it'd be like up until like 12 or whatever, and then it'd be this Skullgirl stream that I would watch. I think their name was K Stacks on the Beat or whatever. Shouts out to them. They were pretty cool. But I would say probably my preferred role at the moment is probably ADC. I do like playing ADC right now. I dabble mostly in support. My favorite gods are probably like Scotty, Terra, probably either Chikolin or Erling. I feel like those are like the same spot. Right now I'm getting into Merlin. He's pretty cool. I like his kit. But yeah, so let's talk about the first topic. Let's go into the first topic here. So right now, as y'all can see, 25 days ago, Lord and Savior Titan Ajax released a article about the state of Conquest moving forward for season 7. Now,
I ain't read that shit. You don't even play Conquest. The fuck is he talking about?
Now, I'm pretty sure most people who are looking at this stream have probably already read it. But like, if you're like McCall, you probably haven't. So let me give you a rundown of basically what they say and some of the ideas that they were going over and what they plan to change in season 7. So basically, State of Conquest, they were planning on. They identify Conquest as being the primary competitive game mode for Smite. They're saying that they start talking about how meta works, how players determine it, or how we as developers change it. And we usually try to keep things from being too toxic. They didn't start to, as far as like certain metas, as far as being like toxic in the sense of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Just too strong, like certain things just being really oppressive. That was what I was trying to say. They didn't start to talk about the Conquest stats, what they, like how it compares to other game modes. They talk about how Conquest is the most played game mode when it comes to end game time, which isn't really saying anything. That's like being the tallest midget because it's the game
That
that
takes the
takes the
longest.
longest. Yeah, it
The
takes the
fuck?
longest to finish. So
This the shit I'm talking about. Like you
uh,
can't trust their word.
and then they go on to say Conquest is the third most when played by unique players. So by new players who haven't played like the game mode before. First being Joust, second being Arena, and then Conquest. And then they said match count isn't relevant in these type of conversations because that really only helps things like stats about certain gods. Um, so after that, they talk about things they added to the game: Totem, Primal Fury, Oni Fury. I'm gonna be real with most people. Until I looked it up because it never provided it in game, I never knew what any of these new buffs did.
Definitely. I'm still asking to this day. Like,
Um,
hey, we just got Primal. What does it do?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm still not sure 100% as to what Totem does. I know Primal Fury gives you increased damage against jungle camps, and Oni Fury gives you enhanced minions, and that's about it. I'm not sure what Totem. I know Totem gives you golden experience.
Does it give experience? I'm not even sure because every time it gives like 25 gold.
I mean,
That's
we
about
can
it.
let's look this up right quick so you can, because I honestly have never known what this buff does. I stopped playing for a very long time. I think season 4 might have been the last time I started playing. But let's see, Harpy Centaur. Defeating it grants 25 gold to all members of the killer's team. Grants a buff to allied structures that increase the movement speed by 5%, MP5 by 25, and the last 10 seconds after leaving a structure.
So when you go into your tower range, you get those.
Yes, and when you leave them, it lasts for 10 seconds.
Oh, so it's continuous as long as you're under your tower.
It seems so. I mean, it doesn't say that here, but I would assume so. I mean, that's something that we can probably test later on. But yeah. So until like right now, I didn't know what Totem did. I
I
thought
was
it
just in
also,
it for the money.
yeah,
As a jungler, I gotta get it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's on the map. It's an objective.
My
Fuck
solo
you talking
lane is
about. Pick that
not
shit
in
up right now.
my solar lane is not in the situation to get it, so I'm rotating over to secure it. I'm just like, yay, we got gold.
And so now we're gonna talk about a little bit of solo and the other problems that they have in this that they've seen in the last season. So invade meta. I know I talked to Marcus the other day about it, but I know me and McCall actually experienced it the other day in a game where we had a Hercules support that just kind of like kind of just went through everything we had. We kind of just didn't know how to react to it. I know me not playing a game in a while, not knowing how to counter it is, or how to counter it, or like how strong it actually is. Didn't really respect it, and we kind of got steamrolled for that game for the most part. I'm not sure if he won and made a comeback, but I know the early game was very hard for most of the people playing. Um, but honestly, I don't see the invade meta as being like an inherently bad thing. I think
Yeah, it's not the worst.
I think well placed aggression should be something that you should be rewarded for, but like if only it's something that's available to both teams. I don't think, oh, if I get this god, or oh, if I have this specific item that's aimed towards. I mean, actually, no. Yeah, I do believe if you get a specific item just for invading, I think you should be rewarded for that if you do. But I don't like I think it should be an opportunity afforded to everyone. Like you can't, I mean, again, I haven't like how do you feel like coming from a competitive someone who played, and I know you haven't experienced it recently, but like I know you've had invade metas before. Shouts out to Hand of the Gods, but like in your experience, like how do you feel about these type of things, Marcus?
I mean, It hasn't. I wouldn't say it's been meta, but it is something that you should always keep your eye out on.
Yeah, it's a pretty old strat realistically, but
Yeah.
it falls in and out of favor. It depends on items as well as like god optimization. What's the recent buffs slash nerfs? What's going on?
Yeah. Dog's barking. But hold on, let me mute myself.
Fucking
Give
hot
me
dog.
1 second.
One second. Give him 1 second.
All right, so I haven't, like I said, I've been gone for a very long time. So I haven't really seen the impact that Invade Meta has. Calm down, buddy.
Oh wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been gone for a very long time, so I've never really seen the impact that Invade Meta has had. But it's not bad. I mean, I like it.
It's something you can play around for sure.
Yeah. It's not like you can't do any.
So this probably hits you too, as it talks about your primary roles. Jungle role and mid role feeling less impactful than other roles. How do you? I'm gonna have McCall talk about it, and then Marcus. How do you feel about that, McCall? Do you feel like mid has been less impactful as the seasons have progressed? You feel like it's become more crowded, or just not as important as before, or?
Mid's always going to be crowded, and it's never not going to be important. It's the one lane you have to move through in order to get to each major objective. I don't feel as if I'm less important, not in the slightest. I think once people adapt and start doing more or picking more on meta picks, they'll be less abused in that role because people will be walking through regardless. Like, if you're not warding, then you're just going to fuck yourself in the end. And since I play a lot of hunters, it really doesn't bother me at all. It always feels like a really safe place for me to be, especially because you can literally walk away and then you can just go make a play elsewhere. It's just a lot that you can do. So I don't really get that feeling at all, personally.
So you don't mind when like you have support and jungle sitting in your lane, and you have their support and jungle sitting there as well, and
I mean, that doesn't happen often enough, nor does it happen for long enough increments of time for it to like make the biggest of deals. Like, I could see if I was behind and I needed to farm and they were just kind of leeching from me, but that's not like a every game situation. There's typically a lot of shit going on, so I can always kind of find my way around personally, but that's also just the nature of the game. Like, are you going to allow yourself to be stumped and just kind of useless because there's people around? Or are you going to go find some fucking farm? Like, stop being a fucking baby. Baby.
Now, Marcus, I know for a very long time you stopped playing jungle just because you felt like the role was becoming less impactful. You couldn't really make a difference in a lot of games. I think that was probably season 5 or season 4, season 5. I want to say.
I want to say it was season 3. I'm not
probably
sure.
even earlier, yeah. So, how do you feel that that's changed? That's something that's not as relevant anymore. What do you feel like jungle has just become a second support at this point, or do you feel like it's kind of found its own carry? It got its groove back. Still, it got its groove back, and is now you can carry from that position again.
See, okay, I'm gonna say it has become a second support, but like not in the sense that, oh, I'm just going around hand holding mid. It's the fact that the support role has changed into this like aggressive, invading kind of style of play, which is usually the style of play reserved for junglers. So like, I feel like over the years, the jungle role in Smite has just kind of been on the decline. Like, the jungle feels empty to me, and then with the removal of like stuff like Hand of the Gods, has really hurt.
Strats.
It's like the identity of the role. Like, the camps hit like paper. You clear those quick as hell, and then you're in mid for like the rest of the game. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Now, do you feel that the changes to support. You mentioned that support has become a more aggressive role, less passive. Do you feel that is because of itemization, new gods that they're releasing being a lot more aggressive, having more options, or maybe a little mixture of both, or maybe not even any of those options at all? Maybe there's something else. Where do you peg that? Where do you
I mean, like I said, I haven't played in a while, so I really don't know when all of this started. This is just for me watching VODs of like season 6. His pro play. They've been picking like a lot of aggressive, like not guardian supports, like warriors, assassins,
Hot
stuff
Naja
like that.
support.
And then
yeah.
you would see the ADC play like safe mages, like Nuaz and Merlins, which further insinuates the fact that I'm not gonna be in your lane. You're gonna play like a second solo laner, and I'm just gonna run around the map.
Always gank mid.
But like, isn't that the jungler's job? Like,
Now,
is it just 1-1-1 and 2 junglers? Is that what we're going on?
now we're gonna talk later on about god classes because I know that's a topic that you wanted to get into. But what you just mentioned right now with season 6, those VODs, that's the next problem that they want to remove in this upcoming season. Duo lane not at all resembling the support ADC duo lane.
Exactly. Like,
Now, I can't really speak for McCall here because not only has he not really been playing a lot of Smite before, maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah, I was
Previously
in
with
school and shit.
school, yeah. But
Shouts out to Pratt.
we,
Don't ever go there. You'll overpay.
but I know for you and me, all right, we played a lot of a fellow MOBA, one a lot of people probably already know, League of Legends. Um, we've been playing a lot of that for like the last couple of years. Just because sometimes we play Smite, but just not as much as we have been playing League. And League even experienced a lack of identity in the duo lane. Do you feel like that should be a lane that's like set in stone as far as like having the ADC? Do you how do you feel about that meta, or how do you feel compared to like how it is in Smite now when we were playing in League? Like, what would you like? How would you compare that to it?
I mean, I prefer like the typical ADC and support combo, but like I don't mind like non ADCs being played in the lane. It's just the fact that it's not a duo lane anymore. Like you just sit a safe god over there to soak up XP and gold. And
While
that's
your
not what the
support
lane was
roam.
for. The lane was for, weaker gods that needed help ramping up into their items. And I don't know what those 2 camps are. They're adding to like 2 XP camps to the
I
duo
think
lane.
attack speed. Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
looks like
That
these
one
2,
harpy, the fat
yeah.
harpy.
I don't know how that's gonna fix the issue because like if the meta stands as it is right now, that's just more farm for this ADC to soak up. And it just like further insinuates the fact that I don't need a support.
Double jungle. Shouts out the lasses.
All right. And so then the last thing that they mentioned is solo laners cannot solo kill each other.
That's facts. It's ridiculous over there. I
I
mean,
mean,
I've been playing.
you probably played a lot more solo than anyone else here. Like, tell us a
Fuck
little
that
bit
round.
about your
Garbage.
your last couple of solo games. Tell us how it's been as far as just like the matchup and because I know the last one you played, you weren't even playing a warrior. You played Sobek.
I was kind of farming him, but like I never really felt threatened in lane. And like this is kind of a hot topic. I want blue buff gone. If you're gonna have Chalice in the game, just get rid of blue buff. Blue buff, and it's up like so it's up all the time. So that's another reason why they can't kill each other. Both solo laners are sitting at full HP, full mana because they got Warrior's Blessing, Health Chalice, Health Pots, and blue buff. We're
chilling.
Where's the area of opportunity? Like you
It's
can't punish
boring.
these guys. They're just sitting and slapping each other, full HP, full mana. It's just never been like this.
So
Even before Chalice, blue buff was always like a long cooldown. So there were opportunities you had, like, oh, his blue ran out. Maybe I can try something here. I can force him to back. But like once blue buff ticks, the last tick of blue buff is gone, like it's spawning again. It's ridiculous. And it's just not a fun buff. Like that buff has always been for solo laners.
So how about switching the buffs around a bit? You know, maybe instead of the armor protection buff, the purple buff being over not armor protection, but you know what I forgot what is what it yeah, the purple it reduces protections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about instead of having that over in duo lane, you give that to solo laners? You give blue buff to.
I mean, I could see that.
You give blue buff to mid laners so that they have more sustain in the early game as characters that use a lot of mana because of their abilities, and you give red buff or attack speed to ADCs.
Well, they are
never
getting
work
attacked
like that.
Hmm?
Even if you put blue buff on that side of the map, they're just gonna take it for the second solo laner, aka ADC. It's gonna give it to that person because like you have mana intensive ADCs like like AMC, Medusa,
Yeah,
Hachiman.
caster ADCs.
Yeah, it's just gonna insinuate that playstyle, and then there's no counterplay to now.
So you just think that they need to remove blue buff, period.
Exactly. It needs to be something more interesting.
Okay.
Like the jungle's not interesting. It's just a bunch of shit to kill.
On like your way to a lane.
Yeah, on your way to a lane. Or both in between waves.
Now that's actually something we talked about pretty recently. Not just the jungle, but the whole Smite map in general for the third time in the last couple of seasons or whatever. But they haven't really added anything interesting to the Conquest. Anything that like they haven't really added anything. I would say that our win conditions are just interesting aspects of the map, interesting mechanics to the map. It's always been, and I know you said this. You said it's always been. I wish they wouldn't do. I wish they would add something interesting instead of just this spawns 5 seconds earlier, or this has been moved over 5 meters or something, or this has this changed location.
Yeah, it's always these small adjustments, which doesn't really do anything
in the long run.
The jungle more interesting. It's like, oh, yeah, this is speed buff, but it spawns 10 seconds faster now. And I'm just like,
get your timing up, plebs.
You can see like the strategy in it. Like, okay, now pro players have to play around. They have to, adjust their pathing, see if it's worth taking level 1, see if they'll need a leash. I can see like the strategy in it, but like everyone's not a pro player. No one's gonna look at that and be like, oh, I gotta play Conquest now.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah. 10 seconds faster. Wow, I can have, what is it, like 6% movement speed 10 seconds faster. Like no one's thinking like that.
And one thing that's very important that I feel like a lot of people need to understand is the difference between balancing for the highest level of play, which is what you want to do. You don't want to make things easier at the bottom so that it can be abused at the top, and making changes for pro players. I feel like if you're catering, if these things aren't in balance and you're just catering towards just how the top level feels, but it doesn't. It's not something that will ever affect the bottom, or even if it does, it's a very small thing. And then if it's something that's broken that works at the top and works at the bottom, I feel like that's what people like. That's what you need to balance, not the things that are only applicable at the top that you won't ever see at the bottom. I feel like the things that need to be balanced are the things that can be applicable at the top and abusable at the bottom. I feel like that's something that they I feel like not even just high res, but like I feel like a lot of people need a balance around that. But that's just my personal take on it. So I know this is something near and dear to you, cause near and dear to you guys, because I know you enjoyed this meta. Hand of the Gods is back. It's now consumable.
Don't even say it like that.
Is
It's
it
now.
really that?
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. It's now consumable. All right. It gets stronger if you have Assassin's Blessing,
Okay, yeah.
and
You
it
can see the
only
synergy.
it only works on your camps. Does not work on neutral or enemy camps.
So what you mean to say is they put a new item in the game that acts somewhat like a hog, but it's not the hog that they had before.
But why
That's
would you
all it
need
is.
that when you can eat camps in like 2 seconds? And it doesn't work on neutral camps or enemy camps?
No.
So you can't use it to invade and you can't use it to secure objectives.
Can use it to maybe clear a little bit faster. Some other
Honestly,
buff
they
on your
should
way
go
to
the
a game.
League of Legends route. All right, since they made it a consumable, and since they made it something stronger, with Assassin's Blessing. Only if you buy Assassin's Blessing can you get Hand of the Gods. All right, it works only for people who buy Assassin's Blessing.
No
So
in
it's
between.
not abusable by other people. I feel like, and it should work on neutral camps, because then now you have more ways to secure uh, a neutral camp. You have more ways to secure Fury. You have more ways to secure. It's no longer, oh, Anubis is coming around the corner. I gotta blow my entire kit and my ult to stop him from ulting it and stealing this. After we've gotten this all the way down. I mean, there's still a chance you can if you don't hit the Hand of the Gods, but I honestly feel they should just go the league route, make it something a consumable attached to Assassin's Blessing, or maybe it's something you get when you like level up your Assassin's Blessing all the way. Like,
I can
when you
see
get
that.
a camp below a certain threshold, it executes automatically or something like that. Something where they're
All
inherently
3
tied
should do that.
together. Just because and maybe that would make jungle a lot more interesting. Then you would have a lot of junglers being more aggressive. Because right now, what's the point of a jungle? Like, what is the importance of a jungler in Smite when it comes to an objective? Like your jungle
Not
can be
much.
all the way in
Usually
solo
I'm just
lane.
zoning.
Yeah, usually it can be in solo, but now it's like, okay, my jungle, it gives your jungle your jungler a new purpose. My jungler needs to be here so we can secure this buff. If he's not here, we have a chance of losing this buff. And I say going the league route as we go to the next new item or the next new relic, Vision Shard, which is a free ward every 2 minutes. It's supposed to be a way to counter the invade meta, because now you don't have to spend money buying wards in the early game and you can see them before they come. How do you feel about that?
I mean, once again, this was already in the game.
Yeah, like what was that? The Chalice Oracle? The Oracle Chalice?
No, it was something like way back that you used to get. Shit. It was like a relic too.
Why did they take that out?
Who knows?
I mean, honestly, as someone who actually fucking wards, I
think that was before they
it.
put the ward limit. So like people would just be lighting up the map with wards. And instead of introducing the ward limit earlier, they just removed that. But that's probably what happened. I can't actually I don't really remember off the top of my head. But I do remember it being like a actual relic that's placed wards for you. Or that gave you free wards.
All right. And so next we talk about the new objectives that they're adding to the jungle. Adding something new. between speed and the XP buff, they're putting in a shrine, which, depending on how many jungle camps you clear, adds more gold to that shrine.
So you clear camps and then hit the shrine.
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because like sometimes I'd see it give people like 5-5-20 or like 5-5-25, and I never
Yep,
really
yep.
understood
The
why
more
it was
the
different.
more you clear jungle camps,
Okay.
the more gold you get from it. And it doesn't just go to you; it goes to everyone on the map.
And only your team can get that shrine. If you hit the other team's shrine, you're just giving them gold. Some shit like that.
What?
Yeah. I mean
Well,
that shrine's fine because especially since they added extra camps to the game, but it just. I mean, I feel like that could revitalize the jungle role in a way.
no.
I
Hello.
mean, you just had to be focused on clearing map.
But you're doing that
The whole
already.
new role. I mean, but now there's incentive. There's extra gold to be had from that.
There's no. I guess what he's saying is that no longer will you have to leech off of mid so much, and you can be more focused on the jungle. But I feel like they should have made. I feel like they should have made changes to the jungle itself, so that's harder to
Yeah, it's harder
clear,
to clear it.
or
And that way,
or it gave more XP or whatever. So there's nothing incentivizing. I guess this is what this is. This is an incentive to stay in the jungle.
So
but
stay
like,
your ass out my lane,
there's
bitch.
if all my camps are cleared, I'm gonna go to a lane. I'm gonna go mid and eat a wave, and then I'm gonna come back and hit the shrine. Don't you see? Like it's just free gold
Which
for no
isn't
reason.
necessarily a
You
bad thing.
you don't even have to fight for it. That's not
Well,
interesting.
it could be interesting in that it'll help people get their items online a little bit faster, and that could lead to more interesting team fights based around the new camps and the new objectives. So it's not like I don't think it's like a terrible idea. I feel like they kind of just like beta testing this, seeing how it would happen, how it would work.
It's
I'm
not
not
a
even mad
terrible.
at like the gold value of anything, but it just the fact that it's just uncontested gold. You don't have to do
Yeah.
anything for
I
it.
don't agree with that part. I wish you were able to steal the other team's shrine.
Yeah.
That would make it a much more interesting component to the game.
So you just buy hog, right? You hog your camps. You take the shrine, you base, you use the gold, you go into their jungle and see if you can steal theirs.
Just ward their shit.
We already talked about yellow buff spawning earlier. They're changing left, or they're changing mid harpies on Gold's Fury side,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's
Yeah, I put like
harder
a wall
for
up there.
so that it's harder for uh your opponent to just walk to your red buff and invade and steal it. That is what they're trying to handle with this. How do you feel about that?
I don't think that's gonna stop anything, and I wouldn't even see that like being a fair way to split the goal because you can just pick a god that can easily scale this wall or fucking jump over this shit and then do both.
That's
So it's
risky,
like,
though.
it's whatever. I mean, it's risky if you are playing against people who have brains, but like if you're playing casual, I feel like you can get away with shit like that, especially if you pick a high pressure laner.
Yeah, I feel like if you have pressure, now you get 2 harpies and red buff. You're not gonna stop them from walking over to your red buff, even by adding another wall. I feel, because if you have pressure, it doesn't matter, you know.
Exactly.
But
What are they gonna do after you ward that harpy that's supposed to go to them?
I
It's
think
like,
this
bro,
is pretty good. I want to say for
it's
the early
easy.
game, I feel like maybe it gives. I don't know, because so many assassins have leaps and ways to get over a wall. You can just be doing it and get jumped on by the other assassin with your pants down. So I don't know. I don't really know if this really solves the problem that they are trying to address. But
What's the problem?
so the problem
Oh, the
is
red
mid
buff steal?
impact. The problem is mid impact. You have these mid laners who have their red buff stolen, have mid harpies stolen, because they don't have any pressure in lane, so then they end up getting out leveled or outscaled by the other jungler mid combo.
That's why you play a hunter and stop being a fucking loser.
Is that
Shouts
Chad
out to the
mid? Is that
ladies, bro.
Chad mid McCall? Like,
Very Chad.
So basically, there's no fight for mid hobbies anymore.
that's what they're trying to
Each
stop
mid
with
laner is
this.
just getting the harpies.
Just farming.
Just
No,
like you get
I
a harpy
will
and I
be
get a
fighting
harpy.
for those harpies. Be like, no, these are mine. The other one is still contestable.
But that I don't know, like contesting for mid harpies kind of been a staple in Smite for a very long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still saying that on Fire Giant side, it's not changing, and it'll still be a neutral camp that you can contest. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. Now that they say that it's going to be a contested neutral objective, are they keeping these Furies as a neutral objective, or are they making them now a part of your jungle camps, like on
Yeah,
each
can you
side?
smite those?
Because if not, because also they're making the change of where like taking enemy camps now give you less XP, or maybe that's always been in the game. I'm not sure.
Wait, what? Is that true?
I know I was watching DM the other day play
This is fucking
Joust,
stupid.
and he
I
was
feel like
talking about how like the other person hit 4 before him, even though he took all of their buffs, because taking the enemy buffs now give you less XP and gold.
That's fucking
What?
stupid.
It's a PvP game.
It's like you should be rewarded for making the right decisions through laning and through doing your own buffs. But I guess
But
they just want this game
as
to
I
be
said,
too
they
easy.
want to avoid oppressive metas. They want to avoid, one-sided. I guess. I mean, if someone's playing well, I feel like it doesn't make any sense to not reward them. But hey,
But like both teams have opportunities to invade. What was it just like? Oh, red side is super good to invade on, or blue side is super good to invade on. So whichever team got that side, was invading every game. I don't understand how this is a problem.
I feel like they're really just doing this to make the game feel more accessible to newer and more casual players.
That could be it too.
Yeah, I mean, also could be just their knee-jerk reaction to invade meta, like their heavy-handed approach. Oh, we want to nip it in the bud so that this is never gonna work again.
If they really wanted to fight against invade meta, they would have just put old hog back in. Like I feel like that would have just been the easiest solution. It's like,
Shouts
well,
out
you
to
got hog
Hog.
now. They can't fucking
Shouts
pick
out
your
to
buff.
Hog meta. Shouts out to Sunder meta.
Jesus Christ.
Shouts out to fucking Tricks Tank, Blink,
Hey, shouts out to
Blink
my guy
Hog,
Tricks.
Sun Wukong level 1, blinks in, takes a buff, fucking bird forms away.
So the last 3 changes, or the last 2 changes, are last 3. Yeah, I was right. They're adding the XP camp. We already talked about that. The purple buff spawns earlier. We already talked about that in context of the yellow buff. And then this addresses the solo laners. Health pots will no longer stack with health chalice.
That's amazing.
What?
Because so you can't go fucking health chalice 3 health pots anymore. That's fair.
I mean, I don't play that role, so I could care less.
That was ridiculous. You just pop a chalice in a health pot, and like it's like someone's healing you. It's like you're attached to Afro, and she throws her 3.
Need healing.
Plus, on top of Warrior's Blessing, it's just
don't go to lane. Hang out
Osiris
over here.
don't even have a heal in his kit.
Don't be in the lane. Don't leech from me, but just be around. Easy lane, easy life.
So before we go into what we personally, some of our personal, I would say grievances, not even just grievances, but our personal suggestions for what Hi-Res can be doing to, contest some of these problems. I want to go back to the beginning where they talk about the stat reviews, the differences between Conquest, Joust, and Arena. Now, right in the beginning of this article, it says Conquest is our primary competitive game mode. but never once does it feel like they treat it like such. I feel like, honestly, in my time of playing the game, I've seen more events for Arena. I think maybe Joust as well, but I definitely know for Arena, or like for like the adventures, like there's been more things done around Conquest than them focusing on, and it not just a balance wise, because balance wise that's a different conversation. Just aesthetically, just from like from the normal player standpoint, they don't do much for Conquest. It's not as advertised, nor is um there much. They don't give much initiative to want to play Conquest as a game mode. And it's not. I honestly think that there's way too many game modes, so that it just takes away from. Cause like, what does Clash do for the game?
Or Siege.
I feel like Clash was supposed to be a bridge between Arena and Conquest, but
But
like,
what it did was, all it did was take the people who would rather be playing Arena that play Conquest, and now they're just playing solely Clash.
yeah, I mean,
It
if
did,
I don't want to play Conquest, I'm playing Clash, or Assault.
Feel you on that.
Not playing
because
Arena.
as you said, when you first started playing in the beginning, one thing is that you didn't realize that, oh, this god doesn't go here, and you learned that, hey, I gotta play other gods. Not everyone has that mentality. Some people are like, oh, I bought a skin for my favorite god, I only play this god, Loki, and
I'm like, you alright there, buddy?
and so they'll only play that god because in Conquest you don't have so. But like, then, okay, that's all right if that's how you want to play the game, okay. But then there's no, like, you're rewarded for that. Like, there's initiative for playing it because you get what you would get from Conquest playing other game modes. Like Duel, Joust, they have a ranked game mode, so you get the same satisfaction, you get the same gratification you would playing ranked Conquest, but now you can play whoever you want.
I mean, it doesn't
relative
matter
to that person,
It does not matter unless it's Conquest. I don't really care about that shit.
I mean, you say that, but then we go season after season after season where they're not doing anything. Why is Joust just got changed like 3 seasons ago? Why is Joust getting another change?
I mean, they're gonna say technically Conquest is getting a change too, but realistically,
no,
like the biggest.
But the thing is, right, is that fundamentally,
it's gonna be the same.
Yeah, fundamentally, Conquest has always looked the same and always functioned the same. They have the same, like, other than like beta Smite, I guess you can say. It no longer looks like that compared to now. But like from season 1 to now, it's almost the same objectives, with the only really new objectives being being Totem and Furies. And even then, Fury is still, just because it does something new doesn't mean it's a new buff or it's a new objective. Like, it still fundamentally functions the same way. It's still in the same place.
They want to turn it into Dragon from League.
You know what? Honestly, I feel like the game just needs new win conditions. But like, they don't do anything interesting to the map, or there's nothing that they do to focus. I mean, at least with League, like, if it's like, and I'm not talking about from a balance. I want to back away from the balance because I'm not gonna like try to talk about balance like I'm a high elo player or anything. I don't want to lose like credibility because I'm trying to talk about something I obviously have no experience with. But the problem being is that they don't focus. It feels like Conquest is just like, yeah, we like this, but everybody else, like, and maybe we need to see the stats. Maybe people who buy skins play more Arena or Clash or Joust or whatever, and that's why they cater to those more than Conquest, as far as like aesthetics go, as far as looks go. But you gotta also understand, in the, like, that's short bursts. You gotta understand, in the long run, playing Conquest is what's gonna keep people playing for a longer time. Like getting them involved, just I feel like that's not when you go on Twitch and the only people you see playing Conquest are the pro players, and then everyone else underneath them is playing Joust, Duel, or Arena. That's a problem. I think that's a problem.
Duel.
Yeah, I mean, when you have people, I haven't kept up with a lot of like Smite content recently, but when you had like when DM or Incon or Weekend or the pro players, when they weren't streaming, when you the next couple of most popular streamers are people like Sam the Dude, Tide Time, and like people like that, like people who are really who were really prolific in Duel or Joust or whatever, then I feel like that's a problem. If you say this is a primary competitive game mode, but no one treats it like the primary competitive game mode, not even you, the developer itself, that's a problem. When the community is like, oh, why would I play this game mode? It takes too long. I can't play the god I want. I can't build how I want. I have to follow a meta. You know, I think like it's very understated how and I understand why they do it. Again, I don't know the stats. Maybe more people who buy skins give them more money, play those game modes. Maybe you know, like I mean, we can speculate, but I just think it's a problem that like as the competitive like it's important that Conquest is the main game mode because yeah, this game has arena, but so do a bunch of other MOBAs. The Conquest, the
Exactly.
3 lane, the 3 lane game mode is
Strategy
what
based.
yeah, the strategy the specific strategy of this one game is what makes MOBAs unique. Dota has different game modes. League has different game modes.
Pretty much all of them do.
Yeah, every what's the other one? Uh uh damn, I can't think of it. The one that Dota is based off of, or the one that League Heroes.
Heroes of the Storm?
I think that's it.
What
Wait,
was
what are you talking
StarCraft,
about?
John? The
Or
Blizzard one, right?
yeah, or Heroes of New Earth. I think maybe that's the one I'm thinking about. I'm
Maybe
not
both
sure.
of them.
Yeah, but like when you look at these, what separates them? Yeah, they're all 3 lane MOBAs, but they all play vastly different. You cannot compare any of these games to each other. And what separates them is that game mode. But they probably all have like a TDM mode or like a like a capture the flag. They have but they also have alternative game modes available to them. But I
I
feel
always
like
see those as things that you could play to warm up before Conquest.
But it never.
Or go
But it's
It
never
never
it
gets
never
there.
stops
mechanics.
at that. It never stops at that for them. It goes from I'm playing this to warm up before Conquest to now this is my main game mode. I'm getting on just to play arena.
I can see that with Assault, but But then
Like
again, I'm a gambler.
yeah,
I gamble.
but there's never any incentive to just play Conquest. And I feel like the lack of attention that High Res gives towards the game mode is the reason why that's the case. You know,
Yeah, agreed.
if High Res was willing to do something to make it to where these it's Smite is a fun game. I think everyone here has a special place in their heart for Smite.
Might
Well,
have my
I
heart for 5 years.
But when
big facts.
because when you go on the subreddit, when you go and look at people complaining about the game, you always hear shit like, I don't ever have anyone playing Conquest. The people I play Conquest don't know how to play the game. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the meta. They don't know how to build. Shit like that where it's like, well, if they just naturally played it, like there's a difference between understanding the game and being bad and not understanding, and that's why you're bad. And I feel like that people don't people get onto this game. It's like, well, I can get better at Conquest, but why should I?
No incentive.
There's no incentive to do that. And that's I feel like that's a very serious problem. I feel like that really affects the health of Smite. And I hope that with this, with this article and with season 7, that's something that they're going to
On
change.
this podcast, because we on y'all ass.
You know what I'm
Fuck you
saying?
talking
We
about?
talking about the community,
We got the black kids of
And
Smite in this motherfucker.
speaking of community, and I know a lot of people when they talk about Reddit, they don't like to refer to Reddit as like the representative of the community. But let's be real. When you go to a Reddit community, it pretty much is the representation of that community. These are, I mean, and as much as you probably like, other than like the pro players, as much as you want to deny it, these are the most active members in the community. They're talking about the game online. I'm pretty sure there's other places that do the same where they're talking about it online, but it's not
DM
as.
stream.
Shouts out to First of all, DM fans and Smite players are two different groups. We can talk about that though. But
We'll get to it. We'll get there.
yeah, we'll get to it. We got something for DM right now. Shouts out to DM. But when you look at it, this is the most populated area of the internet where they are specifically talking about this game. I would say that's pretty damn representative of it. No matter how many people are actually playing the game and how many people are on, these are the most active people of the community. And maybe I'm being very giving when I say that, maybe because if you go on the Smite subreddit, oh my god. I say active, but a lot of people on there, I feel. I mean, I guess it depends from um from community to community, but the Smite subreddit is just kind of really weird compared to other MOBA.
They about to be on your ass.
I'm trying to be very, because I'm not dissing it, or I'm just trying to be very generous with what I'm saying. But a lot, you get on the front page, like if you go to League subreddit.
I feel like just making this comparison is just, I don't know. They're gonna get tired of hearing that. Like,
LOL.
I mean, hey, I would just shit. Like,
I mean, but like, what else do we do?
yeah, like what other comparison? I mean, there's not a lot of, like, maybe we could talk about fucking what was that one game? No. What was that one game that Epic Games made that was a MOBA that was also like third person? I can't remember it.
I mean, but that's anything.
Oh, that shit.
I mean, like,
What was
if
that called?
we're gonna talk about like, cause if I played a lot of Dota, I would be making Dota like comparisons. So I don't know, but if you go to, and you know what, we can talk about Dota. I'll go look at Dota. Let's go look at like League subreddit, and then let's go look at Dota's subreddit.
I don't know nothing about Dota.
But if you go to Reddit and you go to Smite subreddit, it just feels like there's a lot of there's just a lot of filler in Smite. Like, you go on Smite, right? What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, right, like 6. Like, right off the bat, there's just a bunch of like, kind of like generic fan art. Like, there's so much of it. Not generic fan art, but there's
shit.
not dissing these people's not dissing.
But to be real, as someone who went to art school, I can say that this shit is pretty amateur. Like, I mean, wouldn't last through my critiques, bro. Like that.
I mean, it's a
amateur or not, it's subjective. It's a subjective thing. But the fact of the matter is that most of the content on Smite subreddit consists of a bunch of fan art, a bunch of God, theorizing God, like kits or whatever, and not actual things relating to, I would say, the game of Smite, like everything around it. Like, we can sit all day, oh yeah, it'd be cool if we got, such and such God from, fucking Russian folklore or whatever, and we put it in the game, and this is how the kit would work or whatever. But then there's like, it feels like we could also be talking about like information and events and stuff happening around Smite, talking about, things that are happening in the community. I feel like there's never any, like, I feel like the only people you ever see actively talking about the community, they always either get downvoted, ignored, or like, you have like people like Duke Sloth who makes videos like that are pretty popular, but like it's so niche. Uh, Talking about these things are just very niche. It's not like, and we're looking at the subreddit now. All right, let's go look at our League of Legends.
RLOL.
And I'm not even saying, hey, you don't see fan art in League and that makes it better. You see fan art in League. It doesn't rule the front page.
Actually, you see that first post right there?
Which one?
The one under the pinned post
Oh, right here.
where it says G2 Esports versus Meta
Yeah.
Alliance. That's something that's never happened on Smite. Even when the big game days are on,
Like
you will
worlds.
never see. It will be like, I'll say 8-9 hours, even days after the match has already happened before it hits top. And that's a problem. That tells you that most of the people that browse our Smite aren't playing Conquest or aren't invested in the competitive side of the game.
Like 2.9K. Well,
I'm not even comparing numbers because League's a way bigger game.
No, we're gonna use like per capita, like we're gonna like relative to leagues, relative to like Smites, like the people in Smites community. Let's go look at the last like SPL like
It's probably
thread.
the World Championship. And I remember like watching the last game. And usually when I'm watching League, as soon as the match is over, I'll go to the subreddit and the fucking post match thread already hit the front page and I can see people discussing it. But like even the World Finals with Smite, I went to the Reddit immediately and couldn't find anything. I'm just like, y'all do realize what happened, right? Zapman literally just won his first world championship in 6 years. This man's been playing since season 1. And
Yeah,
no one's talking about it.
This is so far. I'm gonna
Because
keep
they don't know who
looking,
Zap is.
but this is the only thing.
Again, they don't pay attention.
Is a fan talking about about SK Gaming's Cinderella story. That was the last thing about SPL.
And it's such a good story. And no, like
19 upvotes.
It's
How many
such
people
a
play
good
this?
story.
There are currently 169,000 members. That got 19 upvotes. And I'm gonna assume that this is like it's like 8:00 on a weekend. I'm gonna assume 1.5K is like average for like the subreddit for like how active it usually is.
I mean, Oryx leaving too.
Like you look at, let's talk about the current state of Smite. 0 upvotes.
Bunch of comments though.
Where did it go? 17 comments?
I mean, it has 0 upvotes. Like,
I mean,
that's a lot for that.
I mean, let's look at what it's talking about because it could be just someone complaining and everybody's like, "Why are you complaining?"
Just like the usual.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Oh, he was going in depth of like actual changes.
Yeah. Okay. SPL, future SPL roster changes. I'm just trying to find. I guess this is it. This is the only thing. 74 upvotes, 168 comments.
I mean, they always have the mega thread. I mean, but that's pinned. So of course, they always pin the mega threads on the front page. So it's gonna pull numbers.
Competitive mega thread. Yeah, I'm not really seeing like much. Maybe if I sort by like competitive.
Like post-match discussions, any discussion at all about the match. Maybe it's all in the mega thread. I don't know, but at the same time, League has a mega thread, and it's discussion about it. But I don't know.
SSG Season 7 SPL roster. That has a lot of upvotes on it. But I mean, all in all, the feeling of when I hop on this subreddit is that a lot of people don't really care about Conquest or the competitive scene, and I think that's honestly a problem. Um, I mean, like, I don't even know how you would change that. Like, what you would do.
I mean, that's just they've already pandered to the casuals.
Yeah, it's not gonna like stop.
It's not gonna stop here.
But like they
they
built
don't care.
this community around it essentially,
Yeah.
so it's just really what they're.
I'm not gonna make fucking arena
small
players
changes
like,
for
hey,
pro.
Come watch this pro game. Come play Conquest. That's not how it's gonna work.
Yeah, I guess with the fan art and the god concepts, they like kind of like support it.
Yeah, it's set in stone at this point.
Doesn't mean that we can't wish though. Let's get some good changes for Conk. Please.
All right, so now moving away from now that we kind of moved away just from Conquest and we started talking about the community and content specifically, let's talk about Smite content. When's the last time you saw a very popular YouTuber or Twitch streamer that wasn't a pro player in Smite?
It's like a personality.
Yeah, just a personality.
I mean, at this point, Incon is pretty much a personality, but he was a pro player before.
So does it really count?
Like, I'm talking, they came from the ground as just a
I can't name one.
They came off the ground as just like a personality, and then they got big. Like, there's Miffy Moo. He got pretty big, and I mean he doesn't do Smite content anymore. But there's Miffy Moo. There's the other Frost. I don't think he was a pro player. Duke Slav. But then it feels like everybody else. It's kind of like they get sucked into either being a pro, and then they start making content because they realize, okay, this is more profitable than this.
Yeah, I already have a fan base that watches my team, so it'll be an easy transition.
You know, like, I remember one time asking, does Smite have a fake, like, being in, I think it was DM's chat, asking DM, hey, does Smite have a faker personality? He said the closest thing is probably Barracuda.
That's more or less him being a likable person than his accolades. Because Barra hasn't really done anything since winning season 1.
Yeah. I see him play hunters and mid sometimes on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say he's bad, but like that's just the reality. He hasn't really done anything but that.
Like, I think people really underrate how important content creators are for a game. You know, Marcus said, "Oh, they're gonna hate this comparison." Let's look back at League.
Oh Lord!
Some people talk about Sky Williams.
My God!
Shout out to fucking Sky.
A lot of people who play League probably know the name Sky Williams. Sky is honestly, I would say, one of the primary reasons we got into League. Watching his content. Wasn't a pro player, didn't even know about the pro scene or anybody by name before then. Watch Sky's video. This is hilarious. That's cool. I want to do that. Let's play the game. Started watching Sky Williams. Started watching Magikarp use Fly.
Funny as fuck.
You know, what's his name? Started watching his friend Duskmane. He's also really funny. Watching KBG TV.
Darkmane,
not Duskmane.
I was like, who?
That's interesting.
I try to make him a little edgier, a little cooler. But you don't see that here. I feel like there's such a void of content here in Smite. And honestly, it's crazy because the content we do have are mostly all from pro players
Or
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 DM.
no, forget that. All from pro players, or and DM included, whatever. I mean, he's an anomaly, I would say.
He used to be
Um,
a pro. You can consider him a pro player, I guess.
all from pro players, or are all stream, and this included DM. This is why I didn't include him in the first section. Or are all stream highlights.
Mm.
That's the extent of content for Smite. It either is pro player talking about builds, strategy, whatever, or stream
Coaching.
highlights. And I feel like there's such a void. There's such a there needs to be, and that's what we hope to do with this podcast. Is I want to make content for the game I like playing that isn't so niche, that isn't so shoehorned.
We in there, first episode.
you know, and then let's talk about DM. I know a lot of us are probably going to be pretty divided on being a DM fan or whatever. He has a very abrasive personality, so he's one of those guys, you hate him or you love him. All right, and this isn't a hot take, or maybe it is. I don't know what the general feeling of DM is, but I feel like DM, not for the reasons you would think, DM creates such a void, such a pitfall for newer content creators, or for people who aren't already established. The reason I say that, the reason why I would say that DM creates such a void, is because of the fact that DM has such a huge following. And I made the joke earlier, but DM fans and Smite fans you would probably consider them two separate groups. Like, if you're watching DM, it could be because, hey, you like watching Smite, you like watching him playing Smite, or you could just like watching, you just like watching Smite, period. But I feel like for a lot of DM, like, they just like his personality. That's why they watch him. And it really doesn't open it up for other people who are trying to, and this is through no fault of his own. I don't want anyone to say, oh, this is hating on DM, because that's the low hanging fruit. That's the easy thing to do. Is to shit on DM. I would consider myself a fan of DM. I watch his streams. I haven't watched his YouTube in a while. I used to watch it pretty religiously. I stopped because I stopped playing Smite as much. But I enjoy watching DM. I know McCall here likes watching his YouTube videos, doesn't watch his stream much. And I know you, Marcus, don't like watching him much at all anymore. Do you want to talk about that, or?
I've always seen him more as a caster than like an actual personality in the community. Like I've always loved his casting, not so much his streaming, because of all the topics you just mentioned. Like, pretty abrasive personality, just aggressive towards his teammates for no reason. I like to watch him play other games. I cannot watch him play Smite because it's just so self-centered.
It's where he has the biggest 5 head.
Yeah. And I guess that's just from playing with and against him so many times. I could be just fucking biased.
I mean, but you kind of have to have a certain level of bias on talking about a topic like this. I think so. But I mean, if he like DM always talks about I wanna do better for the community. I want this game to grow. I want the game to be the best because I put so much of my life in it or whatever. So I mean, at least I like despite his personality and despite the fact that his own existence kind of makes it harder for newer content or newer creators or personalities to rise up into relativity. Um why should we cuz why should we talk about any new content creators on the Smite subreddit when we can trash on DM, you know? Um like I feel like he always has tried his best to help the game or try to help anyone who like supports the game. Cuz he still cast the game for pro play,
I watch that too. I watch his biased commentary,
you know.
casting,
And
like pro play games.
and honestly, this because I think this is also a very interesting topic, and we'll get back to this. How do you guys feel about the current state of casting in the SPL,
I
Who?
or
mean,
from the last time you watched it?
the Hindu Man and Aggro show, because they don't have any other talent beyond that.
The only other caster on their team that I even pay attention to slightly is Hindu Man. Everybody else, like Adonis, Toily, I don't know. Like their
Adonis
styles have
isn't even
never
there
appealed to
anymore.
me.
Adonis, I've never had like a negative opinion of Adonis. His casting was kind of just like there, but totally, man. And
Now,
I was a big fan season 1, so this ain't even me hating Anatoly. His casting is just garbage.
what would you say then would be the way? Like, how would you go about approaching like what they can do better? I feel maybe for me personally, I feel like there's just too much color casting and not a lot of information on the game.
Yeah,
Exactly, which is why we had
pretty
DM.
much all it is.
I mean, Aggro's pretty knowledgeable considering he used to be a pro player. Like he says some smart shit, but other than that, it's just color casters.
And how do you feel about how do you feel from a production value watching the SPL game? I know a lot of people, um, they were praising who was it, Bart coming back to like work the camera for like pro play or whatever. I can't remember. They were talking about someone working the camera because uh, it feels like during turn like Smite, like during certain pro games, whoever works the camera doesn't know where they need to be looking or like working certain parts of the UI. How do you feel about
Mhm.
like those type of like criticisms, or do you agree? Do you disagree? Like just from a production value, how do you feel about SPL games?
Smite production value is what you'd expect from where Smite is right now. It's pretty amateurish. Doesn't feel like it's a lot of effort into it, but they don't really. I don't think they have enough money floating around the pro scene to fix that. Like Smite's been the same production wise ever since I started watching. Nothing's really changed but the on air talent.
Yeah, pretty much. And they just kind of cycle those guys through in and
Yeah.
out.
And like every game has production issues. Like, that's not even nothing I'm worried about. But you got to have people that will make you want to watch it regardless. You know,
You
like
just feel like there's no one like that, or there were with DM with Bart
Dry beer.
I
or
remember
Dry Bear, not Bart.
I was watching LCK. Then we back to league. I was watching LCK,
Back to the hand
and
clap.
one of these games was like fucking 2 hour pause in between the game, and just shit. The on air talent was just so. It was Alice, and I think Papa Smithy. They were just so good at their jobs that I didn't even notice. It just felt like a podcast in between a game. But like, if you say that happens with Smite, I don't trust anybody that they have on talent to entertain me for 2 hours with no gameplay. They can't even entertain me with the gameplay.
Mm.
Shots. Yeah.
But that's just how I feel on it.
Now, this also leads into another topic we had. Because of what you said, when you watch pro play, you want on-air talent that'll make you want to play the game. Do you think that affects? Do you think the Smite pro scene is a huge factor as far as Smite's popularity or Smite's placement in the mainstream? Do you think that's like something that, or do you think it's the game itself that has been more effective or more essential? I would say more critical in like how people perceive the game or where it is as far as popularity. Because are the people who are
Honestly,
getting into the game, are they, because of the lack of content, are they just going straight to watching pro play because that's the only content available at the time, or like how do you feel, or like what's your opinion there?
back when I was playing the game for like every day, 8 hours a day, I would see posts on Reddit. That's how people would join. Like, hey, I just watched this tournament, trying to get into the game, stuff like that. But I feel like that's just not the medium anymore for Smite. I feel like they don't find it in the same ways. I don't think, like I said, Smite's pro scene, I'm not gonna say it's not as big as it was before, but it's definitely not thriving. It was on the upward path, and then it just stagnated.
Super heavily.
Now, do you think that's because of their deal with Mixer, or
I mean,
just
I mixed out on a whole season of Smite because of that, but I'm just one person.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure hardcore like the season I missed out on, I had already stopped playing Smite for like a year. So I wasn't really trying to watch it in a sense. But I can see like if I was as into it as I was before, I wouldn't have any problems, going over to Mixer to watch it.
But that's only for the people who already. What
Yeah,
about?
that's only for the people like already invested. That's why I said stagnated. Because you're not getting any new viewers through Mixer.
Mm-hmm.
You're just attracting the people that were already watching it. And the people that were
Almost alienating.
Yeah. And then
That's a
which
double-edged
doesn't
sword.
make any sense because you were still streaming DreamHack on Twitch. You were still streaming the World Championships on Twitch. It's just like the regular season games were the only things being streamed on Mixer. And like, take it from me, I'm browsing Twitch one day and I see DreamHacks on for Smite. I'm like, I don't know any of these players because I haven't been following the scene. What is going on? I didn't even know this was happening.
How do you? If you're out of Smite, you don't know about the Mixer deal or whatever, and you look and you see and you're like, where was this? I haven't seen it. Maybe you haven't actively looked for it. Everyone can make that argument, but it's like, where is this coming from? And it's
Exactly. And I didn't understand why, if you were going to stream it on Mixer, why not, just stream all of it on Mixer? I don't understand. Why come back to stream DreamHack and the World Championships on Twitch? Doesn't make any sense.
Shit's wild.
So what's the next? What's the next topic we can get into here?
Man, we're
Yes,
already
I think
deep
this.
an hour and a half into this.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
might.
I was about to say.
I
I
think we
feel
might.
like we ran through it.
Yeah, I think we might just. I mean, we have a couple more, but I think this might be the last one we do. Because we mentioned it briefly before, but we didn't go into more context about it. But I know it's something that Marcus wanted to talk about. lack of skill expression and the constriction of god classes. Now,
That's a lot to unpack.
now this probably
That's
our last topic. When we
you don't have anything else because like that's a lot to unpack. That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I was about
We're
to say,
gonna
you
be
might
here
want to say
forever.
that for the first John, bro.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And then
I'm
the
fine.
next one.
All right. Well, we can talk about the glitches and game breaking aspects of the game so far. A lot of problems with Smite, I would say. From just a hardware, or not just a soft, like from a like inner workings of the game situation. There should be no reason why if I tab out during the loading screen that crashes my Smite.
Number one, that shit is irritating. There should be
Shit just
no
happened.
reason why this game takes 6 to 10 minutes to load on any PC.
And the only way to circumvent that is by adding it as an exception in your virus security. Because I know if you are on Reddit and you've seen, like, if you've been on Reddit last week, I know there's a guy, forgot his name. If I did, I'll drop his name, give him a shout out. But there's no one, there's like, he did a video about how to make Smite load faster on Windows 10. Why is that a video that needs to be made?
Need to do some better optimization, dude.
It's been like this forever. Like,
Why is it when we got DirectX 11, we got DirectX 11 64 mode and HD texture pack, they told pro players not to run that because it would ruin their experience.
Save that for the casuals.
I don't understand.
You can look at their little particle effects.
I mean, I haven't really encountered any game breaking glitches. I think I've gotten lucky with Smite.
My only
I
issue
think
is
my Smite's been perfect, other than the loading situation.
on the alt tabbing. Literally the biggest issues, I think.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is y'all motherfuckers gotta get on that shit and optimize it a lot better. And by y'all, I mean the developers. High res, please do more.
I mean, I know reading somewhere that they said that, or just watching Duke Sloth's video about game, like the state of the game itself, that the people who do fix like the UI and shit like that, they've it's always been said that they are vastly overworked, that they end up being outsourced to other sections, I think, or it's just the things that they have to do is just like a lot. But even still, like these, if you have these things that have been around for a while and they're not being touched, like as like the consumer, that doesn't look good for me to like come into a game and be unsure if it's gonna work properly if I have on these certain settings.
It shows the negligence. Shows the
I
negligence.
remember I used to play on minimum settings just to get the best out of the game, even though I had a computer running it fine.
But all right. So I think we're gonna wrap up on that point. Thank you for anybody who came by and looked. Probably not a lot of people. It's kind of hard.
It don't
Since
matter. It's all about consistency.
yeah,
You're great.
we're probably gonna try to do this either weekly or bi-weekly. Have a more consistent schedule. Probably have more like maybe an official Twitter account. Maybe make an official um, Twitch channel for it. We'll see how it works out. We're playing it by ear right now. I'm gonna try to release this to YouTube. Because I know some people who couldn't be here who said they would support it. Ask if it can be on YouTube, so I'm gonna try to put it on YouTube. It's probably not gonna be immediate because I want to go through the video maybe edit like some parts where it's not silent, or the dog barking in the background, shit like that. Also put some timestamps up, you know. But if you did come by, or if you're watching this from YouTube, thank you to the YouTube viewers, thank you to the Twitch viewers who came by and stopped. And yeah, anybody you wanna oh, if you want to follow me here on Twitch or on my Twitter below, at Jasui Noir on Twitter. McCall, what's your give your shout out, your ats and your handles and stuff.
Shouts out to all the pros that still play this game and actually make it somewhat of something I would like to watch. That's pretty much it. You can follow me on anything at MICAOD_. And yeah, shit was cool talking about all these fucked up things that we have to deal with as Smite players.
All right, and so Marcus, what are you have any shout outs? Do you want to give out any of your ads, before we
No.
Oh, okay, damn, all right.
Don't follow me.
Don't follow me. I don't like shit. I don't go outside.
I don't even do shit. I play Smite. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming by. Hopefully, more people will follow us next time. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hey.